The microfinance industry is growing bigger and bigger. A lot of companies are really registering under this particular industry. But the question is that how secure are funds of those who go to deposit in these companies, as a number of them are also folding up because of financial challenges. They charge high interest rates, which the Bank of Ghana has no control over. And a lot of Ghanaians are really interested in these rates that they charge. Now, we want to find out from the central bank, if they do not have control over the interest rate, what can they control about this particular industry and ensure that depositors' funds are safe?
It's important for us to understand where we are coming from. We are coming from a regime where these institutions are not regulated. We are coming at a point where these institutions, all that they need is to go to the police and ask for a license. Now, when you try to legislate and bring them under regulation, the question is that you can't apply the legislation retrospectively. So what you have to do is that you have to let these institutions that have been existing and are underground, you have to bring them up, try to let them understand and appreciate what regulation is all about, and then chart a path for them. Okay. Now, it is unfortunate that we are seeing some of them collapsing. Now, simply because when they were set up, there were no rules for them. Now, if I bring you on that rule, then you begin to think that, oh, what kind of activity is this? We must also understand that recently we have declined as many as about 120 licenses because you don't seem to have what it takes to continue that business. I think going forward, what we are doing is that, one, people must understand that before you transact any business with anybody, call it self-microfinance, find out, has that company got the license from the central bank? And when I say license, I'm not talking about provisional license. I'm talking about full final license. You see, because provisional license is just to say that, yes, we have looked at your feasibility, we have given you these other conditions to go and meet. If you meet them, we'll give you. But if they have not come back, and then we allow them to operate, where you go there and put your money there, you have a problem. The other question somebody will ask is that, why are you not closing them down? There's a rippling effect. If I close two, three microfinances, close to a very good one, what will happen to that one? There'll be an equal run. And we shouldn't forget that a very good microfinance can also experience a run. Because you see, when you take deposits, you don't keep those deposits in your till. You take those deposits and you lend out quite about close to about 60% of it. So if there's a run, it means that everybody is coming to demand. So the remaining 40 that you have, the 60 that you are giving out as loans, it's a contract. Once the contractual terms have not been breached, you can't go and ask the person, my customers are coming to me, so bring the money. So in looking at strict enforcement, you also have to look at what will be the effect on the very good ones. Now, what we've been doing is that we know there are a few of them which even couldn't see the day of light, and they are with the police, about 7 of them. They are currently under investigation. Some of the directors and things have been arrested, and they are going under prosecution. Now, going forward, what we are trying to do is that we've stepped up supervision. For the last quarter to this quarter, at least, we've been able to look at about 100 or close to about 125 of them. Visit them, look at what they are doing. Now, what we try to do is that those that collapse, not as a result of fraud, but as a result of mismanagement. Some of them, you realize that it's not like they've squandered the money or they've used it for something. It's pure mismanagement. The guy takes deposits and he thinks that, oh, when I give loan, I'll make big money. He doesn't look at his credit underwriting standards. He doesn't care. It's just like somebody has come, I want to give him money. He will pay. That's little mind assumption. There are some too that are going into financing businesses that they have no business financing. You see, you have to look at your capability, look at your capital before you decide who you give loans to. You can't give loans to people who are beyond your ability. Okay, so those are the challenges. We've had instances where we've had several meetings. I have personally had several meetings with any bank, any institution that is visited, and I don't find your report to be satisfactory. We need to bring you to the office, have a discussion with you, and tell you. Some of them clearly you realize that it's not just deliberate. It's just because somebody doesn't understand the dynamics of it. For some of the failed ones, I think the problem we are having is that we seem to trumpet the few ones that are failing. We have said that if you have any investment you want to make and you are not sure, get to the central bank. I have had the opportunity to drag some people to my office because they are offering interest rate of 50%. And I asked them, how sustainable? Tell me what you are doing with the money. They have no choice to split down the rate to about 25% because they think that they are competing with a bank that is giving about 20%. So why not hike mine so that I'll get them? If you watch, most of them are, the whole collapse is basically in two regions, Accra and Ashanti. And if you look at the underlying facts, a lot of them just believe that microfinance is successful by visibility. Get big offices. And when you go, you yourself see the buildings in which they are. Banks will not even go and stay in those buildings. And these are issues, these are post-regulation issues, pre-regulation issues. Because they came in before the regulations came. Now what we have done is that for some of these ones that are facing challenges, we are discussing measures. I mean, because if you don't have it, we are encouraging people to buy into those companies. So at least for some of them, there have been some injections by new investors, and we are asking them to slow down on growth, slow down on number of branches. Some of them are merging their branches. Some of them are offering their other branches to other entities. So we'll get there. But the point is that we must also lose the sight that some are just fraudulent. And for 7 of them, they are with the police. I mean, we don't have the power to prosecute. So there's very little. You prepare your dossier, you give it to Yoko, and that is where you end. It's only when prosecution can maybe you'll be a witness. The central bank doesn't fix any rate for anybody. But what we are saying that those rates must be realistic. Anybody who want to deposit, you must first look at the rates that you are being offered. Ask yourself, how sustainable is this rate for this institution? Basically, most of them bench their rates on the T-bill rate plus a margin. So if, for instance, the T-bill rate is about 19%, then you expect a markup of about between maybe 2 to about 3-4%. That is quite manageable. So you expect that this money, as they take it at this rate, they can deploy it in reasonable investment that can bring them adequate return. But when you have rates in excess of about going to about 50%, they're paying you 50% interest on your deposit, and then you begin to wonder, how is he going to deploy this money to be able to pay you the return on that investment? So I think it's critical for people who want to deposit to know that the higher the person promises you to pay the interest, the greater risk you are, because risk, profit goes with risk. So if you are prepared to take a very high interest, then you should know that you are putting your money at a very high risk. I sit in my office, people come and say that, well, we have invested in a tilapia business. And I ask them, I don't have the capacity to regulate tilapia business. So if somebody say, bring your money, we are investing in tilapia, and you go and put your money there, there's virtually under law, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't go even prosecute the guy. But when I go, what is my, the lawyers will tell your local standing? I don't regulate you. So virtually, there is very little I can do about that one. But if you are in an institution that I have license and there's a problem, then I must try to see how I can solve the problem. If you apply to me for a license, it doesn't mean that I've given you a license. You understand? So if somebody will show you, I've written a letter to Bank of Ghana, and Bank of Ghana not responded, so it means that I can operate. We don't work like that. So we must purely understand. As I speak, the failure rate, I'm saying that is coming down considerably. When you step up field work and when you invite them to dialogue, I think it's better. But where you refuse to heed advice on dialogue, then we have to clamp down on you. If it's a licensed institution, we will only have to engage. Because what we have told the licensed institution is that, and it is on their license sheet, that the fact that we have licensed you, that is not a guarantee for depositors. Okay. What we have done is that we have invited someone. A few of them have corrected themselves and they are okay. What we have told them is that it is not possible for you to pay your customers everything. It's not possible. You have to put in place, inject capital, put in place an arrangement to meet your customers and agree on a schedule of payment. Some have done that and they are out of the woods. Right. Some are having challenges because some of the deposits they have taken are really big. And so it's difficult for them to come to arrangement with the people. But if we have given ourselves time, if you can't, then you have to face, you the directors and the management and the shareholders, you have to face prosecution. We have already given some of them to the police already. You see, but we are, like I said, you must also be careful not to create an image crisis for the good ones. The only assurance we can give you is that we have to get a dialogue with the investors. They should give us a plan of how they are going to meet the obligations of their customers, or else we'll give them to the security agencies for prosecution. Going forward, what we are doing now is that there's currently, we are discussing a draft legislation on deposit insurance. And that will give some level of insurance to all depositors across the financial divide. But that is at a very early stage. We have to finish discussion for the AG, for Parliament. And so we are hoping that by close of year, at least we must get that deposit insurance. That will give some minimum. Like insurance, it's like a third-party insurance. We can't pay everything, but depositors will be guaranteed a certain amount of deposits.
The central bank is really poised to deal with the challenges in the microfinance industry, but it's quite obvious that the companies that existed before they introduced regulations to control the sector are posing serious challenges to them, as they are the ones that are now folding up because of financial constraints and mismanagement. But moving forward, they are still poised to ensure that there is some sanity in the sector.